China has issued a formal and strongly worded response to the United Kingdom after the British government delayed its decision on whether to approve Beijing's plan for a new embassy complex in London. The delay, announced by UK authorities and now extended into the new year, has prompted public criticism from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, which says the postponement lacks reasonable justification. The reaction came during a regular press briefing in Beijing, where officials were asked directly about the UK's announcement and the implications it may have for bilateral relations. At the briefing, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian addressed the issue at length, framing the delay as a decision that China views with concern and frustration. According to Lin, all necessary procedures and documentation for the proposed embassy project had been completed long ago. China, he said, has consistently acted in accordance with the regulations provided by British authorities and expects the same level of procedural consistency in return. In his prepared remarks, Lin emphasised that the latest move by the UK was both unexpected and unacceptable. He stated, "China's application for the embassy building was completed long ago. The United Kingdom's further delay in its approval is completely unreasonable, and its so-called reasons are entirely untenable. China is deeply concerned and strongly dissatisfied with this. We will carefully assess the situation and safeguard our legitimate interests." China's planned embassy complex in London has been under review for years. The land in question, located near the Tower of London, once housed the Royal Mint and includes several heritage structures. Beijing purchased the site in 2018 with the intention of constructing a large-scale diplomatic compound to replace its current embassy, which is located in a more constrained area of the city. However, the project has faced resistance from local residents who have raised concerns about security, traffic congestion, and the potential impact on historic surroundings. Some British lawmakers have also expressed reservations, citing issues linked to national security and China's broader diplomatic posture. Despite these concerns, China maintains that it has complied fully with the planning process and expects the UK to handle the matter in a professional and timely manner. Beijing has repeatedly argued that the construction of diplomatic facilities is a normal part of international relations and that countries benefit from having modern, secure premises for consular and official activities. The UK government's latest decision to postpone the matter further has therefore added a new layer of tension to an already complex bilateral relationship. Relations between London and Beijing have been strained in recent years due to disagreements on a wide range of issues, including the status of Hong Kong, restrictions placed on Chinese technology companies operating in the UK, and debates over human rights. The embassy decision comes against this background of broader political friction. China has signalled that while it prefers stable and constructive relations with the UK, it will not accept actions it interprets as politically motivated delays or discrimination regarding its diplomatic presence. During the same briefing, Lin Jian also responded to questions on unrelated international developments. One of these involved new reports from Malaysia regarding the possible resumption of efforts related to the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. The aircraft disappeared in March 2014 during a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, carrying 239 people, most of whom were Chinese nationals. The case has remained one of the most perplexing aviation mysteries in modern history, and the prospect of renewed search efforts continues to attract global attention. Lin acknowledged the reports and reaffirmed China's support for any credible attempts to determine what happened to the aircraft. His response was brief but appreciative. He said, "We have noted relevant reports and appreciate the efforts made by the Malaysian side. China has consistently maintained an interest in the investigation due to the significant number of its citizens on board and has participated in international cooperation related to the search in the years following the aircraft's disappearance." The briefing then turned to another topic involving diplomatic relations in Central America. A Taiwan official recently stated that Taipei looks forward to re-establishing ties with Honduras following that country's upcoming presidential election. The official also said that Taiwan had been in contact with both leading Honduran candidates. Honduras severed ties with Taiwan in 2023 and established formal diplomatic relations with China as part of a growing trend in the region, where several countries have switched recognition from Taipei to Beijing in recent years. Lin Jian responded by underscoring Beijing's established diplomatic doctrine and emphasizing the progress China says it has made with Honduras since formal relations were established. Lin reiterated China's view that the One China principle is the foundation of its relations with all countries that recognize it. In his words, the One China principle is the political foundation and fundamental premise of China-Honduras relations. In the 2 years since the establishment of diplomatic ties, bilateral relations have developed rapidly, with fruitful cooperation in various fields. Beijing has placed significant diplomatic importance on each country that shifts recognition away from Taiwan, describing these moves as evidence of broad international acceptance of the One China principle. Honduras, since establishing ties with China, has discussed cooperation on a range of issues, including trade, investment, development financing, and infrastructure. China often highlights these partnerships as examples of what it considers mutually beneficial, long-term diplomatic and economic progress. The combination of these three issues, the UK embassy delay, the MH370 reports, and the developments involving Honduras, demonstrates how China uses its regular foreign ministry briefings to articulate its positions on both bilateral disputes and wider international matters. Lin's remarks reflect Beijing's approach of presenting its viewpoints in clear terms while responding to the various diplomatic questions raised by reporters. On the embassy controversy, the Chinese government is signaling that it will continue to monitor the UK's decision-making process closely. Beijing's choice of words, including its description of being deeply concerned and strongly dissatisfied, indicates that it views the matter as more than a simple administrative delay. Instead, China sees it as an issue that touches on the broader health of the bilateral relationship. The UK has not publicly provided a detailed justification for the delay beyond citing planning requirements and the need for further consideration, but China appears unconvinced by those explanations. British officials have faced domestic political pressures regarding China policy, particularly in relation to national security concerns. Several members of Parliament have argued that increased scrutiny of foreign diplomatic facilities, especially those linked to major geopolitical competitors, is necessary. The UK government has also strengthened its foreign influence transparency measures and taken steps to limit the use of certain Chinese technologies in sensitive infrastructure. These domestic debates create an environment in which decisions involving China can face heightened scrutiny. China, meanwhile, is trying to balance its criticism with an appeal to established international norms. Its position is that diplomatic construction projects should be handled in a consistent manner, without delays that could be interpreted as politically motivated. Lin's comments are part of that strategic messaging, aiming to underscore Beijing's frustration while leaving room for further engagement. On the MH370 issue, the Chinese Foreign Ministry's brief but supportive comment reflects Beijing's long-standing interest in the case. China has repeatedly pressed for continued efforts to resolve the mystery, both out of concern for the families affected and due to the broader implications for aviation safety. Any renewed Malaysian effort would likely involve coordination with international partners, and China has signaled its willingness to cooperate in the past. The question regarding Honduras underscores China's ongoing diplomatic competition with Taiwan. Every shift in recognition is significant for Beijing, which has made the One China principle a central pillar of its foreign policy. Since establishing ties with China, Honduras has sought new economic partnerships, including infrastructure investments and trade opportunities. Beijing regularly highlights these moves as signs of progress in its relationships with countries that have recently aligned with it diplomatically. At the briefing, Lin's responses remained firmly anchored to China's established diplomatic principles. On each of the three topics, the Foreign Ministry reiterated points that reflect broader patterns in China's foreign policy. On the UK, the message was that China views the embassy delay as unreasonable and expects a timely resolution. On Malaysia and MH370, China expressed appreciation for potential renewed efforts. And on Honduras, China reaffirmed the centrality of the One China principle and highlighted what it describes as rapid progress in bilateral cooperation. As the situation stands, the UK has not given a definitive timeline for when a final ruling on the embassy project will be delivered. The matter is expected to be reconsidered early next year, but the British government has said only that further assessment is necessary. China will likely continue to raise the issue publicly until the UK reaches a final decision. The status of China's London embassy plan remains unresolved. The new complex, if approved, would become one of China's largest diplomatic sites in Europe, symbolizing Beijing's growing international presence. But until the UK finalizes its position, the future of the project remains uncertain. China's public response indicates that it views the embassy delay as a sign of possible political hesitancy within the UK. Whether this develops into a larger diplomatic dispute will depend largely on how both sides approach the issue in the coming months. For now, China is making clear that it expects a resolution and is prepared to defend what it views as its legitimate rights under international diplomatic norms. The briefing concluded without additional comment from Lin Jian on the embassy matter beyond his initial statement. However, the tone of the exchange suggests that China will continue to express its dissatisfaction while waiting for the UK's next move. The MH370 question and the Honduras inquiry provided additional context for China's broader diplomatic activities, but the embassy delay remained the central focus of China's remarks. As Beijing reviews the situation, it will closely track any statements made by British officials or parliamentary bodies involved in the final stages of the decision. The issue could also surface in future diplomatic engagements between the two countries, particularly if the delay is prolonged further. China's position is that it expects a fair, timely and non-discriminatory process. The United Kingdom's stance is that further assessment is needed in light of community concerns and the broader planning requirements. Both sides appear firm in their perspectives, and there is no indication yet that either is prepared to adjust its position substantially. The situation now depends on when the UK government chooses to deliver its final judgment on the embassy project and how China responds if the delay continues. For now, Beijing's message is clear. It views the UK's actions as unjustified, and it intends to continue defending its diplomatic interests as the process moves forward. The matter remains active, and both governments are expected to revisit the issue in the coming months. Until then, China says it will continue monitoring developments and assessing what steps may be needed to protect its diplomatic rights and interests. China has placed the responsibility on London to resolve the delay and provide what it considers a credible, consistent explanation for the extended review period. With the embassy application still pending, the status of one of China's most significant diplomatic construction projects in Europe remains unresolved. The situation will continue to evolve as the UK moves closer to a final decision, and China continues to insist on what it describes as a reasonable and timely outcome.